Live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. This is Sooner Sports Talk on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield.
Stripped by Godwin, breakaway, Sam Godwin, hammer! Godwin picked the pocket.
Wing to Verhulst, quick release three, swish.
Fierce, pull up three for the tie, foul! He hit it! He hit it! Miles, pump fake, steps left, open three for the lead, got it! He knocked the bottom out of it, and the Sooners lead it! North Weatherford three, Big Luke! Big Luke! Bam! Throw ahead to Moore! Moore with the breakaway! He'll dunk it! He'll dunk it! And you can unhitch the wagon! You can unhitch the wagon! Put the ponies in the barn!
This is Sooner Sports Talk.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. It's time to talk some hoops as we welcome in now the head coach of the Sooners, Porter Moser. Everybody, howdy, Coach.
Hey, Toby. How you guys doing?
I'm good. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm great.
You recognize this young man?
I do.
Down here to your right?
I do.
Jake Moser is with us here for this first segment as well tonight. How you doing, Jake?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. First time here. Couldn't be happier.
Is this really the first time we've had you on the show?
Yeah, 4 years. Senior year, I'm just really excited to be here.
I know. He's worn me out.
Is he?
Yeah. He 4 years, and he's getting the nod.
Of course. You're in the game. You're in the game tonight, Jake.
Yeah, got a call mid-Super Bowl, and he goes, hey, you want to be on the radio show tomorrow? I'm like, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah, were you going Eagles or Chiefs? Who were you rooting for?
I was going more Eagles. Just wanted to see Jalen Hurts get one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was ready for the Chiefs to be done.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Bears fan, I assume?
Of course,
yeah,
of course.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Coach, how we doing? Tough week. You just survived. So how we doing right now?
You know, nothing gets you back on track after a good practice. So we had to give them off yesterday, and we were getting our hands around Missouri, and we went this morning. You know, I didn't want to wait till 3 or 2 our normal practice time, so we went an hour of just trying to get the intensity defensively back. A lot of the little things, just more anticipatory rather than reaction on defense. And I thought we really had an intense hour, and then we came back this afternoon. We really were going over Missouri's game plan and had another hour of practice. So we split it up. I just think we had a great day. I think the film was great, and kind of you and I were talking about it. Is the thing to do this is to completely have perspective that we're trying to chase and get better, but also the perspective of where we're at. We're still 36 in the KenPom, which is right there in the mix for all this. We're 16-7, and out of the 7 losses, 5 of those are against top 5 teams. So the perspective is, yes, we lost at number 1 Auburn, and we lost at home against number 4 Tennessee. I thought we could have defended better, done some things better, but perspective is that we got a lot of opportunities. We got to start taking advantage of some of these, but we've got to keep perspective and not get down on ourselves and not get this feeling of weatherness. We've got to get this positivity and this momentum going to get to get a win.
Jake, it would be a week where it would be easy to get down because of the 2 losses. What's your sense of kind of the locker room and the mentality of the guys right now? I
just got to say, this is probably one of the most competitive teams that I've been a part of. Everyone's hurting right now, but everyone just on to the next. Every game's a new opportunity. We've been all talking about. Just got to get back to the basics and just got to get strength in our defense and strength in numbers too.
Coach, the Tennessee game, the number that kind of jumps out at you is the 52, but I think Florida scored 44 against them and Auburn scored 53 against them. Scoring against Tennessee is hard. They came out red hot, and that's what really hurt you. And they were making shots.
That's what was really hurt. We did some things. We forced 18 or 19 turnovers, but we didn't affect their shooting. I mean, I know they made shots. I know that, and people were saying, "Oh, they're so hot." I'm like, I thought we could have done a better job affecting their shots, and I think they were able to just do some things that they wanted to do, and they just came out scorching, and it just kind of got us. And but offensively, they do that to a lot of people. They make you get ugly. But I thought looking at the tape again, if you look at the first 5, 7, 6 possessions, we scored on 3 of them, and we missed 3 layups and a wide open 3. We did the first 7 possessions. We had great possessions, and I think it kind of took the air out when we had 2 back-to-back missed layups, and they hit a 3 and a dunk. And we got to be able to handle that. There's no excuse. You've got to be able to handle, and I said this, Toby, looking at some of these clips, is in the press conferences, I don't think we emotionally handled hard. When things got hard, I don't think emotionally we handled it. Physically, there's going to be a lot of things during the season, but I didn't think emotionally we handled fighting through the hard of playing these 2 elite teams when it got hard on us.
Tell me about, Jake, tell me about what Jalen means to this squad. It seems like from the outside he's the unequivocal leader of this team and always stays positive.
Oh, Jalen's like always there for the team. Like he's just a strong leader too. Like he was hurting really bad. Like he helped us out to get like a players only like team film session right the day after the game, and he had like a powerful message for all of us. And just to keep fighting stuff. Like we gotta be there for each other. Like we gotta like just can't be playing for ourselves. We just gotta like do the little things and just keep getting better and just get back to the basics.
That's got to make your heart happy when the players come together without you, Coach.
No, it's huge. That's I always say player-led teams are more powerful than coach-led teams, and what I mean by that is during practice, if they're holding each other accountable, if they're the ones setting the tone for the energy every day, if they're the ones having their voice talk about a lot of the little things, it's powerful. And yeah, I did hear that. Jalen really was really vocal about himself first and foremost, the displeasure of some of the things. And also just getting on the page, like I said, a perspective. There's 360 teams in Division I basketball. 280 of them don't have a shot. There's another 20 that are already in, and then there's another 30 that are just right in this pack. Everybody's chasing. And, we have the hardest schedule in the country. We get that. We know that. But we've got to stay positive and pushing forward, because if you feel like you got this wet negative blanket on you, you're not going to push forward and be positive. And that's what Jalen was sending the message to the guys with, and he says it starts with me. And I really love that about Jalen.
Opening segment brought to you by McIntyre Law. Noble McIntyre at McIntyre Law, the law firm you should turn to for all your legal needs. What's it like coaching your son?
It's been a joy of a lifetime. I didn't know how much I was going to enjoy it. He finished his senior year in Chicago, and he came here, and he said, Dad, I wanted to do this. And to be able to go through this journey with him, and we talk all the time about practice. We talk about, what he thinks, and just after practice, road trips. It's been a joy of a lifetime. And to see him in some of the early games when he got in, right there hitting that shot, it was just so fun to see him do that. But his brothers come, his sister comes, but it's been a joy of a lifetime to just to go through this journey with him. I've been coaching for 30 years, and to have someone to see family there that much, it's been a joy.
What's it like for you? What's it like playing for Dad?
Oh man, it's always been like a dream come true.
You call him Coach or Dad?
Oh, Coach.
Coach, okay.
During practice.
Yeah, 100%.
Got to. But man, it's been like the dream of my lifetime and stuff. I've grown up watching him coach my entire life. He's always been there for me, taking me to practices, always helped me get better, helped me push, become a better person outside of the game of basketball too. And just being able to be here, seeing him now, every single day, being able to be in practice, I'm just man, I get to be here. I get to be here at every practice. I'm just more than blessed and grateful to be here.
What's your future plans beyond basketball?
So I'm currently majoring in sports business, and I'd love to be a part of sports here in the future and stuff. I'm learning more about the stuff that goes past basketball and stuff, more so up in the offices.
Yeah, maybe the NIL world. There's so much sports business going on.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Explain to people, Coach, who may not know and be able to see basketball practices, the importance of the scout team.
Yeah. So Reed is here too, Lovelace and Jake, and they kind of run our scout team. So they're just such the lifeblood of our team. I mean, they bring the energy every day. They're selfless. If they don't get the minutes, they're sitting there join in. But they go and they'll come ahead of practice and run what the other team's running on offense. They'll guard the way the other team's guarding, and they have to learn the other team's offense every game. And they do it because they love basketball. They love the University of Oklahoma. They love being a part of a team. And they're absolutely a lifeblood of our team. And but it's so important because you got to have other teams do that, the scout part of it. They'll jump in, and whether it's a drill or anything, they're just absolutely wherever they need it, they're giving 100% effort, the energy. You watch them on the bench, and they're constantly energy givers, bringing it to them on the road trips. So just I love it. And there's a lot of talk with this new structure that there's going to not be walk-ons, but it really is roster spots. The future says you're only going to have 15 roster spots. You still can use those roster spots for walk-ons, just to be clear if you've heard anything out there. But they are going to start limiting next year. You have 15 spots no matter what, and you can't go beyond 15. And I will never want to go away from having walk-ons because I just think it gives people opportunities.
Yeah.
Like Jake and Reed got opportunities. I think this will affect them the rest of their lives to be their part of something. And they're also a huge part of what we do.
And Jake, I mean, the nuts and bolts every week is it's your job to replicate the offense or defense that we're about to see next week. So you're Missouri in practice right now. You got to learn something new every week. You got to learn a new offense, new defense, that's a lot. That's a lot on your plate.
Yeah, of course. It's always like the same process. You just got to learn 20 plays, come in right before everyone else the practice stuff. Like you'll hear from Reed and stuff. Like he's always our point guard. I got to give him a shout out. Like he always does a great job with it too. Like you always got to learn like 20 plays and make sure you got to almost kind of like transform yourself into the player that you're scouting as. Like whether you're like so and so, like you're the shooter and stuff. You got to make sure like you got to change your habits and stuff like to mold that player just offensively and defensively too.
You ever give Dad advice, like when you go home at night or after practice? Do you ever say, "Dad, I think we should do this"? Do you dare give him coaching advice? Yes, you say yes.
I'll joke about it. He'll be like, "Man, you got to get number 30 some more shots."
Come on, Coach, you got to throw me a lob.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Hey, see that play that we ran in practice for Caleb Grill? I think that'd be good play for me too."
That'd be great. That's good, man. It's fun to watch you guys up here together and just the father-son connection, coaching and playing and everything. It's a thrill. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
After 4 years, it's great to finally have you on the show.
No, I'm grateful to be here.
Stay with us. Reed Lovelace is going to join us up here next.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Dos Equis, the official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Bob Moore Ford is proud to honor service members through the Patriot of the Game. Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Sooner Kids Club presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Orthodontics exclusively, Mathis Home, and Devon Energy.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue at Sooner Sports Talk, and we're talking men's hoops. We'll talk about the showdown coming up Wednesday night with Missouri in a second, but we welcome in now Reed Lovelace from the Crossings. How you doing, Reed?
Good. Thanks, y'all, for having me.
Great to have you, man.
So,
What does it mean, growing up a Sooner fan, to put on that crimson and cream?
man, it's undescribable, honestly. Like, getting eye black on and going to the games, football, basketball as a 3-4-year-old kid, and then being able to put the jersey on is pretty special.
What does Reed mean to your program, Coach?
I tell you, when they approached me about walking on, I did my research and I found out how much of a legend he was in the state.
Crossings?
Oh man, at Crossings, an AAU legend. Everybody knew who he was, and it's been really cool because he's everything you want about a part of your program: toughness, character, winning mentality, brings it every day, selfless. All the adjectives you could think, he brings it, and it's fun because my son now plays at Crossings.
Yeah.
And I remember the first game I went in there, and he's got his own shrine there.
Reed does?
Oh man, it's in the glass trophy case, but it's funny. Like you go around, like, oh man, you got Reed Lovelace on your team. He had a legendary high school and AAU career, and he, even Dayton Forsyth said, man, I always hated guarded Reed in AAU. Man, we all knew Reed was coming down to town, so.
Reed, what do you feel like your role is on the squad?
I feel like, in a way, my role has somewhat gotten larger than last year in a way. last year I feel like it was more support, being positive, locker room, keeping the vibes high after wins, after losses, trying to keep steady mental level. And then this year, I've gotten a little bit more on the court in practice as playing the scout team point guard, kind of how you guys talked about earlier, just learning the other team's plays and trying to do little things. Like one thing that I try to make sure that I do is if they do something like 7-cut or 500 or something like that a point guard really does often and we need to get ready for it, I'll try to do that as much as I can so that I kind of take it upon myself if we're getting hurt by something the point guard does. I take it upon myself that I didn't do a good enough job that week of implementing that. So
yeah, that's cool. Reed, you were on the floor. Let's see, we had 97 points a week ago or so, and you did the right thing. You dribbled out the clock. You didn't try to score.
Right.
But as soon as the buzzer went off, you threw up a three-pointer, and it went in, and you almost made a coach mad at you.
I did.
That was a lot of fun.
I did. It was a little scary.
Yeah, the Vandy coach was not happy
I
with you.
heard this after the fact. I didn't know what was going on because I was already
running hot. Reed almost that was funny.
So I had a lot of people tell me to shoot it, and I knew that I didn't want to end up on ESPN as classless or anything for the university. So I waited till the clock went out and I shot it, and their coach had already started going to shake hands, and so all he heard was a crowd reaction, and he had looked at me, and then Coach Hump looked at me, and I've never seen Coach Hump look so mad before. And he was like, "What are you doing?" And I kind of looked at their coach, and I had to explain myself, and I was like, "I promise." I waited till the buzzer went out, like, "I promise." And he was like, "Oh, okay."
That. I was already shaking the other hand. But I almost feel like, that coach in Rudy, when he's kind of under his breath going, Rudy. You're kind of like that as a coach going, Reed, shoot it. Because it's such a fine line now because they only have a certain opportunities when they get in there. But it's I didn't know that until after the fact. Someone just told me about that.
That was great. All right, Missouri, you got coming up Wednesday night. Coach Dennis Gates has done a tremendous turnaround job with this team this year. This is a good squad you're going to face again.
Power of the portal. I mean, they were 0-18 last year in the league. And through NIL the portal, and they've done a great job. They got a bunch of high major transfers, one from Duke, one from Indiana, one from Iowa State, one from Iowa. All high major transfers, and he's got them playing really, really hard. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, the pace they play at. They also force a ton of turnovers. And, I've watched them to win at Florida. Florida's 3 in the country. They won at Florida. They won at Mississippi State. They just had a tough game against A&M. A&M hit a 3. Wade Taylor hit a 3 at the buzzer. Very similar to us, that Phillips hit that 3. Wade Taylor hit a 3. But one of the best teams in the country. They're a team, too, when I look how old they are and the pieces they have a Final Four caliber team. They do have that kind of pieces. They're coming off a loss. We've got to guard the three-point line. In their wins, they're averaging 12 made threes. In their losses, they're averaging 6.5 made threes. So a big difference in their wins and their losses in terms of that three-point line. Transition D, not turning the ball over, huge in that building. That building is their fan base. It's tremendous home court advantage, and we've got to really be poised and really take care of the ball in that building.
A little more of an up and down flow, it feels like, maybe in this game than certainly you saw against Tennessee, but then most opponents.
They're really going to get up and down. I mean, they are trying to run makes, misses, and turnovers, and they are going to let it fly. They are going to shoot a lot of threes. And Caleb Grill, there's so many of them. Tamar Bates is one of an all-league player, averaging 16, 17 a game, transferred from Indiana. Mark Mitchell, transferred from Duke. Perkins from Iowa had a big game at Tennessee. We played him when we played Iowa last year. We beat him in that tournament. So really good player. But for us, I think really guarding that three-point line, the physicality and taking care of the ball. I think we can run as well. Get our transition game going. It was hard to get our transition game going against Tennessee when they shoot that well, and you got to get some misses, got to get some tempo running. We couldn't get in a run, but I really nothing like bouncing back when you got a good character group of guys, and they absolutely got after it in our double sessions today.
This segment brought to you by Dos Equis. I'll ask you the same question, Reed, that we asked Jake. What's your sense of kind of the attitude and the feeling in the locker room right now?
I think it's very hopeful. I think we kind of hit a wall in a sense of just like what are we going to do? Are we going to go this way? Or are we going to go that way? And we kind of came together, and we're just like, we're not going back that way. We're gonna go forward and really come together and figure out what we got to do, effort-wise, strategy-wise, and find ways to win the games.
How's Armand handling this week?
You know, it's funny because
Armand Gates, Dennis's brother, by the way.
My assistant's brother's with the head coach of Missouri. So it's not his scout because but he's he's competitive. It's probably like the Gundys back, going at it. Probably like that scenario. Like you want to beat them. You want the bragging rights in the house or the Thanksgiving Christmas table. They've been going at it. They've played once before, but Dennis was an assistant and Gates was an assistant.
Okay.
It was back at Kent State in Northern Illinois, and Armand's team won the game.
Okay, he's up 1-0.
This is the first game where his brother's been the head coach, and I know the mom, Mrs. Gates, is wearing a half Missouri, half OU shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she'll be at the game in a half and half shirt.
That's awesome. And you got a little personal history with Missouri. Sounds like you feel like you owe these guys a little bit.
I do. Well, playing at Creighton, we played them, and in 1989 in Dallas Reunion Arena, we were a very good Creighton team, and that was my junior year. We played them in the first round of the tournament. They had an unbelievable team, very high seed. Doug Smith, Anthony Peeler, Lee Coward, Greg Church, Gary Leonard.
Great team.
Byron Irvin. Phenomenal team. And, man, we were up. I remember like it was yesterday. We were up 9. We had everything going.
Yeah.
And Doug Smith chucked in a half quarter at the buzzer at halftime. And all of a sudden they're going with all this mojo coming out. We came back and got beat in the second half. But I've played there. Their student section, the Antlers. Just tremendous atmosphere there. But we used to play them when I was at Creighton.
Our producer tonight, Dan Cavanaugh, who's in your ear right now.
Yeah.
Was rooting against you that night. He's a huge Missouri fan.
Dan.
I was rooting for you, though,
Coach. Thank you very much.
Make no mistake about it. We do want to let people know that LSU coming to town on Saturday. That'll be a 5 o'clock tip. I know you're not worried about that game yet, but we certainly want a great house, a great crowd for that game.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to this Missouri game coming here. But, I think for us it's just so hard, one game at a time, but absolutely.
Reed, it's fun to watch you play. I love your story. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Reed Lovelace, Coach, go get Missouri. Toby. OU Mizzou coming up 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. Stay with us. Tyler Neal going to join me when we come back.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Norman Hyundai, your premier Hyundai dealership for new and used cars. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. New episodes drop every day. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. Presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino. Orthodontics Exclusively is a proud sponsor of the Junior Captain of the Game. Junior Captain is the ultimate fan experience for children 6 to 12.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Tyler Neal going to join me for the rest of the show. Normally, this would be Jenny Baranczyk, but she's playing right now. So depending on when you're watching this may be old news, but it's a 27-21 Sooners on top of Auburn. That's going on like right over there.
That's 29-21.
29-21. It's going on right over there in the Lloyd Noble Center. So we asked our buddy Tyler Neal to sit in with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Great Sooner of the past, now doing some broadcasting work for us. How you doing?
I'm great, Toby. Good
to see you. Great to see you,
yeah.
As always.
Missed you the last couple of weeks. I've been here last two, and you've been gone.
Yeah, well, I'm leaving again next week.
Okay.
But it's good to catch up with you.
Absolutely.
For at least 1 week. Let's talk a little men, and then we'll jump into the ladies. Tough week that Porter Moser's team has just gone through. I mean, number 1 and number 4 back-to-back is brutal, and then they took a couple of lopsided losses. How do you fight through that as a player? I mean, sometimes you get rattled in your psyche, even though they're games you're not expected to win. If they go down like they went down, you could start to doubt things a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is as much as we all, whether that be media or fans or, supporters, we're getting up and prepared for that week and realizing the threat that it was and the potential really difficult week that it could be. The coaching staff and the players, 10x that, right, as they prepare for these games. So you have to think of that human element a little bit of they invested, they prepared, they got ready the best they knew how, the best their coaching staff knew how, Porter Moser and that staff knew how to give themselves the best chance to win those games. And they played well in parts of those games. Unfortunately, not 40 minutes against really, really talented teams. So we have to think about how they're feeling, right, after you invest all that and you get the results that you did. So I think it's a good question to ponder after a week like that. I'm trying to think back to, when I was playing for Coach Kruger in a good Big 12, rarely did we ever have 1 and 4 in the same week. I mean, you kind of got Kansas 2 weeks from now and maybe a really good Baylor team, but in a different week, and you can kind of balance those and try and go 1-1.
It's only the fifth time in program history they've played 2 top 5 teams back-to-back.
Yeah, so I wish I could speak from personal experience on how to kind of bounce back from that. But, I think, honestly, as a player, I would be thinking, all right, well, those 2 are immediately behind, which means they're not coming up anytime super soon. Let's go beat Missouri, another team that's, that's playing really well, much better than they were last year. And if anything, use Missouri as a use case of, hey, it can get turned around here. We're a talented team. We've shown in spurts, sometimes full games at a time, in those victories, that we can compete with anybody we play with. Now let's just go put it together more consistently.
What has impressed you about the SEC this year?
Oh, man, the size.
Yeah.
Just the impact that some of these teams on the inside can make protecting the rim and how much that affects, especially a college team with, inexperienced basketball players earlier in their career, 1 or 2 of which, right, on each team may go play professionally, where they have to spend a long time professionally finding out how to attack, put pressure on the rim against shot blockers. So it's really hard. I think Jeremiah Fears one day will be an incredible driver. I mean, maybe not quite like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but I think he has the physical makeup, the athleticism, and the skill set to be really good at that. But the reality is the Shays, the Ja Morants, Russell Westbrooks, the guys that are really good at that, they don't get that way overnight. It's failing over and over. That shot blocked. I got fouled there. I thought I got fouled there and did not. It's just crafting that over a long period of time. And Jeremiah just turned 18. He's been doing that, doing this for a couple of months here. So I think that, there's some potential for him to be drawing on that well throughout this season. I know he may not be here in Norman a very long time, but I think there's a good chance we see the fruits of some of that as we get here closer to the season, and to the point where I bet he's kind of looking forward to the challenge of some of that size against, future teams, whether that's, playing a team you've already played again or another team with size. I know they've already played A&M twice, but I could see that happening as well. But that's what stands out most is just the rim protection and how much it changes your half-court offense.
Style matters with every team. I don't know if I've ever seen an OU team where it matters more than this one. It seems to me that, and Jeremiah is the best example of this, if you can get a team in a game that they want to go up and down and it's free-flowing, then this team excels and Jeremiah Fears excels. If you get locked in one of these half-court slug-em-out battles like Tennessee loves to live in, Oklahoma has not been very good at that this year.
Right. And it's hard. That is not an easy thing to ask a team to do.
Yeah, and one thing that gives me encouragement or hope going down the stretch here is the biggest glaring weakness for this Oklahoma team has been rebounding. In their SEC wins, they're plus 27 on the boards. In their SEC losses, they're minus 90. They're not a great rebounding team. But of these last 8 games, 6 of them are against teams in the bottom half of the league in rebounding, and another one is against a team in 7th place in rebounding.
Yeah.
So really the only elite rebounding team they've got left is Florida, and that's going to be a tough game on the road.
They're not in the top 3 or 5 or anything, are they?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game.
Okay.
But, at least they've kind of got almost all of the elite rebounding teams out of the way in the league, which may give them a better chance here down the stretch to gobble up some wins.
And what's hard, too, about a weakness like that at the collegiate level is, these kids are young. They hear what their weaknesses are. They know. Their coaches are telling them, best you believe it, as much as we like to, talk about it in the media and fans like to complain about it or talk about it. At that age, you can almost kind of put too much, give it too much credit as a weakness, and it can become this thing that's really hard to overcome because you hear all these different people talking about, well, it's a weakness because of this, and this player needs to be better at that, and man, that team they just played is so big and physical, like we were just talking about. So that's a hard thing to do at the collegiate level too. But that's what you're trying to do over the course of a season, is which weaknesses are weaknesses that we can improve on a little bit. We know we may not over the course of a 35-game season. Can't get taller.
You can become a better rebounder.
Right. You can improve a little bit. And what are the weaknesses? Like, hey, this is going to be tough for us based on personnel to fix and create a strength. Let's take these strengths and improve those a little bit. And I think in the games that this team is winning, they are doing those things. I think one is three-point shooting.
Yeah.
I think they don't do enough of that in some of these games. And I know you don't want to go into an Auburn or go against a Tennessee and say, hey, we're going to throw caution to the wind and shoot 55 threes. If we make them, we win. If we don't, we get blown out. That's not winning basketball. But I do think there are some of these games where, Bryson Goodine, Luke Northweather, Glenn Taylor's doing a good job of being confident and getting in three-point attempts up.
Duke,
Jalen Moore,
Kobe.
Duke, yeah, those guys. An open-ish three-pointer, not a bad shot for this team because, yes, you may have gotten your shoulder past your primary defender, but you're still end up shooting a 35 or 40% shot at best at the rim anyway, so why not shoot the same one,
and get
from
3
behind
points
the
for it
three-point line.
instead of 2.
At least that was always my philosophy.
Yeah, one of the great gunners in Sooner history right here. One more men's question before we go to break, and then we're going to talk about the ladies. If they're going to get to the NCAA tournament here down the stretch, is there a guy – more than any others that you feel like has to really play well for them?
Let's say Duke Miles.
I like that.
I think, and I've talked about this the last, couple of times on these shows, basketball is hierarchical when it comes to, especially in college, offensively. And I think Duke was a guy that experienced a lot of offensive success early in the season. And then you had this kid named Jeremiah Fears come on in that Michigan game and, earned a lot of spotlight for himself. Rightfully so. Then Jalen Moore and Jeremiah kind of figure out this thing between the two of them, like, okay, we're playing off of each other. And in that moment, as conference play started, it seemed like Duke was having a hard time finding out where his spots were offensively.
Yeah.
Is this a good shot for me, or no, I'm going to drive it and make a play for somebody else? He's a selfless kid, a really, by all accounts, a really good kid. You would know that better than me. But the last couple of games, he seems like he's getting a little more confident to take and make some of those threes, to drive, but also realize that a shot at the rim may not be the play. I'm going to drive to kick. And I just think he's so explosive and has a good head for the game that I think he could help this team offensively. So I'll say Duke.
Good stuff. We'll take a break. We'll talk about the ladies when we come back here at Rudy's. Stay with us, everybody.
We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free. Oklahoma Buick GMC dealers. See your Oklahoma Buick GMC dealer.
Welcome back to Rudy's, everybody. This segment, this show brought to you by Riverwind Casino and by Pike Pass, who encourages you to make it home safe. Oklahoma. Tyler Neal with us for another segment. Let's talk about the Sooner women. They're playing right now, by the way, in the LNC. They're leading Auburn by 9 as they near halftime. Boy, big win at Ole Miss. They had dropped a couple in a row, went on the road against a good squad, and had a huge comeback late to pull that one out.
Yeah, definitely so. And it's a great rewatch, Sooner Nation. If you missed the end of that Ole Miss game, about 2 minutes on, Sooner women up 1 point. Peyton Verhulst takes a deep three, frankly. I mean, the confidence that she has to take a shot like that. She did score 10 of her 19 in that fourth quarter. But, I mean, a deep three, knocks it down, goes back down on the other end. Late in the game, we're seeing some of the early highlights here, but gets a block, and then the Sooners just kind of run away with it at the end there. That's a game, that's a win that gives you makes you feel really proud about the effort that you put in. Ole Miss coming into this game.
No Reagan Beers, too.
Right. No Reagan Beers, not feeling well. I think she's also not playing tonight, but Ole Miss was number 1 in the SEC going into this game. giving up only 54 points a game. And OU didn't score a whole lot more than that. I don't remember what the final ended up being, just over 60, I believe. But to kind of play at Ole Miss's place, where they were 9-2 going into this game, and to face up to the challenge of their physicality and their length and their athleticism on defense. And again, another game where, frankly, Oklahoma struggled through some turnover issues here. But to come out in the end, here you see down 7 with just under 7 minutes left. And from here on, offense got a little bit better. Lexi Keys hits a really big 3 right here to get him back into within 1 score. And I just thought if I'm Ginny after that game without Reagan, I am feeling extremely, extremely proud of the team for figuring out a way to win it.
Some of the best basketball they played all year.
Yeah, 100%. And here's a 3 from Peyton, right? Just knocks the bottom out of that one from really deep and then gets the block, keeps it in bounds here, and you're up 4 with 1:15, and you get another good stop. Sahara takes it down for an and one to put the cap on it. But really impressive finish, and Ole Miss gave a great effort. I mean, it put up a great challenge. And if you play this game 10 times, Ole Miss probably wins a good handful of them. So that's one. After they
needed it too.
They had lost 3 of 4, and just like the men, they're playing high-ranked teams and really, really good teams. South Carolina, LSU, and Kentucky. 3 top 12 teams are the teams you lost to there in the last couple of weeks. And you go away from home, another team that probably could be ranked has a winning record in the conference, and you beat them. It was big time.
This squad. Well, first off, Peyton Verhulst, how great has she been this year? I mean, that's not surprising, but boy, she's been clutch.
I can't stop thinking about how big it is for her to get that extra year next year of eligibility to be able to play. That's really, really big to be able to plan on if you're Ginny, as you kind of think about that next roster. But yeah, her shooting ability, her composure, her ball handling. I mean, she's just a really good basketball player.
She likes to take the big shots in the big moments too.
Yeah, and she figures out a way. She's not the tallest or the most athletic, but she is crafty with covering ground with the ball in her hands as she gets downhill on drives, and she's really crafty around the rim, really with either hand when she needs to be. And she's a really willing passer too. If she sees, it's kind of like playing with like Messi in soccer. If you make a good run, the ball's going to be right where it needs to be for you to score a basket.
I got that reference. I don't know what percentage of our viewers did. With the men, we talked about their glaring weakness is rebounding. With the women, as you mentioned, it's been turnovers this year. Is that a fixable thing here? Are we too late into the season? It is just what they are, or do you think they can maybe corral that a little bit here?
I find it interesting I think it's something that you can continually improve on. Again, I want to give teams like Ole Miss credit for creating, situations that are tricky to run an offense in and tricky to overcome the loss of a Reagan Beers in pregame warmups. I mean, these are all things that affect how you can operate on the offensive end in a high intensity game like that Ole Miss one was. But I find it really interesting from a coaching perspective. Ginny, look at her last few rosters here before this year. Just age and veteran leadership and 5th-year seniors and 6th-year seniors. And you kind of, I would, like if it were me, I would be interested to see if I would almost forget that you need to coach up some of these things because, my 5th-year seniors, 6th-year seniors, they know to take care of the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Ginny does this, but I think it's just kind of a fascinating point with this program of how it's gone the last few years. And you still got Nevaeh Tot, right? But Raina Scott started this Ole Miss game. So Ginny's obviously experimenting a little bit with that point guard spot. Zaya Van is a freshman there playing a bunch too. And I think it's fixable. I think you do give a lot of credit. I hate to say it for the men too on the rebounding. You got to give a lot of credit to some of these opponents. They're just really dang good at creating those situations.
Let's take a look at the schedule ahead, brought to you by the Trails Golf Club. Auburn tonight, then at Missouri on Sunday. Vandy comes to the LNC next week, and then they'll head over to Fayetteville to take on Whoopig Suey. And, again, the upcoming schedule brought to you by the Trails Golf Club. So just a reminder, folks, the women's NCAA tournament works a little different than the men. The top 4 seeds, if you are a top 4 seed, you get to host the first 2 games at your place. So the difference between being a 4 seed and a 5 seed is huge. Remember last year, OU just missed that, had to go to Indiana, and ended up dropping a heartbreaker there in the second round. So right now, the projections out there have them as a 4 seed. I like their chances. Tell me if you agree with it. I like their chances of finishing that way or higher, because if you look at the remaining schedule,
absolutely.
Auburn tonight 3-7 in the league, Missouri 2-9, Vandy's 5-5, Arkansas's 2-9, Florida's 3-7, and their final game is against a good Alabama team that's 7-4. But the final 6 games here, favorable. I think they got a really good chance to close strong.
Well, first of all, I hate that there's only about 5 or 6 games here for regular season college basketball, so don't remind me about that.
Sorry about that, yeah.
That again.
We got a long postseason, though, to
That's
go to.
right. That's right for both teams. I think my biggest, on top of the schedule, one big reason to have hope for the Sooner women's program is we've yet to see the best from Skylar Vann. And this is a conference player of the year last year, 6th player of the year before that. She has, a lot of accolades here, and rightfully so. And I think, we're about to probably start seeing her best and how she and Reagan Beers can kind of jive and figure that whole thing out. And I think if that happens and she starts knocking down some threes and raising those percentages just a little bit, it'll be tough to beat this team.
Yeah. Love talking hoops with you, man. Thanks for sitting in with us tonight.
No problem.
Tyler Neal, everybody, stay with us. We'll wrap it up here at Rudy's when we come back.
Thank you to our Cornerstone Television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
Final segment brought to you by your Oklahoma Buick GMC dealers. And there's a fun couple of hours thanks to Porter Moser and Tyler Neal, Skip Johnson and Aaron Mansfield for being with us tonight. Here's what's coming up this week for the men's basketball team. Wednesday night on the road at Mizzou. That'll be an 8 o'clock tip-off. Then back home in Norman, 5 o'clock Saturday night. They will host LSU in the LNC. For the ladies, they're playing tonight, up 9 at halftime. Then they don't play again until Sunday, when they will travel up to Columbia, Missouri, and take on the Tigers. That'll be a 1 o'clock tip-off for them there. We'll be back with you next week right here at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. We hope to see you here then. Until then, Boomer Sooner, everybody.
Live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Sooner Sports Talk has been brought to you by Dos Equis, official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.